Thank you everyone for joining in to this Kosmo Campfire regarding building a mission control app in Salesforce communities. We have a lot to cover over on the agenda today, so please feel free if you have any questions or concerns to put them into the chat box, okay? My name is Lexi. I am a senior customer success rep for Aprika. I usually take over the trainings or assisting with knowledge materials or customer support. I've been with Aprika a little over 3 years and in the Salesforce ecosystem for a little over 6 years. On the agenda today, we will do the demo to show how to create and manage a mission control app in the communities. And then we'll open up for question and answers towards the end of the call. All right, so our main objectives during this demo is to gain an understanding of the following points regarding Salesforce communities. We'll first discuss any requirements that you'll need set up for Salesforce. We'll show how to set up your site domain and activate your communities. And then we'll get started with community profiles and permission sets. After we set up our app, we'll show how to activate a user in the experience and making sure you have the correct mission control permissions for that role or external user. We'll set up our community using the customer service template in Experience Cloud. And then we'll also create different landing pages or different tab pages for the application. All right, so I have a couple of different color themes and logos, and then we'll also add mission control components to layouts. So first and foremost, regarding Salesforce requirements, you cannot use communities with professional edition orgs. So you'll need either I can't even think of the editions that are available with Salesforce right now, but you cannot use communities with professional editions. And then regarding sharing records to the guest user or the external users, there's a few ways to do so. So if the user has a customer community license type, then you can only share access with the external user using sharing sets in Salesforce. If the user has a customer community plus or a partner user license on their user record, then you can grant access to records using sharing rules. And that'll be your standard record sharing in Salesforce. We've also provided a few resources regarding the license types, the sharing sets, and sharing rules. This will be available once the video has been published for your use. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into the demo. The first thing you'll want to do is navigate to Digital Experiences and make sure that you enable the experiences. You won't be able to set up the specific site that you'll need without enabling this setting first. So that's in Salesforce Setup under Digital Experiences in the settings. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and then register the domain for the site. All right. So once we get this activated, the first step is to make sure my domain is set up, and then we'll go ahead and get our site created. I believe I've already set up my domain in this particular org, so I might not need to do so. And I'll just check on that. Yeah, so I've already had a few domains set up for this org. All right, now we'll go back into sites and start to create a site. So once you have your unique URL, then you will go into create a new site. Now, you'll want to make sure you're under digital experiences. This will be a different site setup than the previous site page. That will be for features like your client read-only URL and different things like that. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. It's just taking a little time to load. All right, so here, starting with our site, this is where we select the template that we would like once we start, once our site is activated and start building out our site. I am going to go with the customer service template. This one has a landing homepage and then allows you to have that navigation tab at the top of the screen, similar to how the apps are already. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and name my experience and give it a few moments to load here. And while this is loading, I was going to say if anybody has any questions, I can try to answer over the short time here. All right, so there's a few things to notice. We're currently in the workspace for our Experience app, and there's quite a few things that you can do here. We will stick to the very basics on how to build out your application, but I do want you to note that there are many different things that you can add into this experience, and I highly suggest reviewing the other features that are available here. The first thing that I'm going to do is navigate to the administrative section. And you can see that my app is not yet activated. If I did need to change my template, I can also do that here. You also have additional preferences that you can manage. So there's quite a few settings. I'm going to leave this here, but one thing I would like to note is that you'll want to set a default owner of the records that are created by guest users. That will also affect your sharing settings and rules and things like that. All right, the next thing you'll want to note is the members tab. So we'll have to open up access to our users for this app. And what I'll do is select a profile and permission sets that are available to use this app. If a user doesn't have the applicable profiles or permission sets, they will not have access to the app as required. So let's go ahead and select. I'm going to add my standard platform user, standard users, and then I will go ahead and select users that have the mission control full community permission set. This is a pre-built permission set that makes sure your users have access to the correct features in mission control. Not all of the mission control features are available within Experience Cloud. So we do have a knowledge article that has a list of which features will work and which ones will not work properly in the Experience Cloud. So again, I recommend taking a look at that as well. All right, so I'll go ahead and save this. Now, there is another message here that I want to note, and that would be the welcome email. So if you see here, it says that when you add a profile or permission set, new site members will receive a welcome email message. And I'll just show you what that email looks like. once we get our user activated. If you do not want an email to go out to the users, then you'll need to deactivate that feature there. I believe that is under emails here under welcome new member. You'll have to disable to send the welcome email and set up those accounts for your users instead of allowing them to set up their account. All right. So we're done here in the settings for now. I am just going to go back and we're going to go into the builder. So let's start building our app. All right. So once everything loads in here, we're going to see that landing page that is automatically created. All right, so I'm going to go into, there's a few options here. You got your components, your themes, settings, and more. I'm going to go into themes and get some colors into the page. So the only colors that I'm going to change here would be the action color and link color. Then I will add in a few images as well. So I already have my numbers for my specific colors that I'm looking for. All right. You can see my buttons have already been updated to the applicable color. So the next thing we're going to change is the link color. All right, and so now my link text will be displayed this light purple color. All right, so we're going to go back. I'm not going to update the login page or anything like that, but I am going to add my company logo in my header image. So that's going to update the image that's displayed here. And then the company logo will be displayed in the corner. So I'm just going to grab those images. Now, I have paused my screen if you're wondering while we're still on the same display, just to keep the privacy of my files. But I will have the screen unpaused in just a moment. All right. Almost done here, just selecting my header image now. All right. Now you can do further customization of your login pages and more. I'm going to leave that as is. And I'm just going to add in one more color for my navigation bar. Okay, that didn't work. There we go. All right, so the next steps is to go ahead and start creating our pages. I'm not going to make any changes here to the home page, but again, there's quite a few components that you can drag and drop into the page and display what you would like in this home landing page. Okay, so the first thing I'll need to do is create the pages for the different navigation tabs here. Once we create the pages that we want, then we'll be able to add them to the navigation. So I'm going to create a new page. There's two options. There's a standard page, and then there's an object page, which actually creates 3 pages instead of just one. The object pages would be for your projects or your actions or any custom or standard object in Salesforce. That will create 3 pages, your record detail page, your list view page where you can select your records, and then your related list page. And it'll all be connected to that same object. To start, we're going to create a project object page. I'm just going to select the applicable object and create. All right, so again, just breaking down that I'll get 3 different pages. All right, so now that I've created my page, we're going to go into the project detail and manage how we would like our page to be displayed. So there already will be a few spaces to drag and drop details in. You have like your record information and tabs. You also have your record banner that shows further information. I'm going to move this up to the content header. And I'm going to move the record information down because I actually just want my mission control overview in this page. All right, so the project overview component can be found under the custom components area. We're just going to drag and drop the project overview into the page. Now, if you notice these dotted lines only allow for a certain width on the page, we're going to change that. So I'm going to set my height to 1,000, which will allow for a big enough space for users to use the project overview. And then we're going to expand the sides here. So to do that, let's go into our settings. Then we're going to select theme. And you can see we have the customer service theme, but we want to configure. So I'll select the edit properties for customer service. And we're just going to expand the page width all the way to the max. This is optional. It is solely because I want to view the full component. Okay. All right, now let's get out of there and continue to manage our project detail. All right. So now on our project detail, you can see it goes to the full width of the page. We have our record banner with a few of the compact details and buttons. And then we have the overview component in the page layout. The record detail could go below this or anywhere else on the page, but I'm going to just leave it to these 2 items for now and move on to the next item. All right, so now let's go ahead and create a new page. The other items that I would like in my mission control app in my community would be timesheets. I will add a Gantt chart, the whiteboard, and I will also add the risks tab in case you want to share your project risks and issues externally with your client. All right, so let's go ahead and select a standard page this time. And this is going to be for our Gantt chart. Now for the Gantt chart, I don't need any other columns or information on here. So I'm going to leave it to the single column. All right, so similar to the other page, you already have your different areas here. I'm just going to drag and drop the lightning Gantt component into this layout. It's not going to display the component while I'm currently in edit mode, but we'll review this after we get our users in. So it's showing as our same header, but again, it'll display correctly once we get our site finished up. Okay, so we are done with this one. And now let's go ahead and create another standard page. Now you can drag and drop Visualforce pages into this. So some of our components are Visualforce pages instead of Lightning components. And I'll just select that so that you can see what options are available there. So it's in our same components tab. You would drag and drop Visualforce page into the layout. And then you'll select the Visualforce page that you would like to see. I'm going to select for the scheduler, add in my height of 1,000, and then remove the record ID so that it displays all records. Okay. This is another one of those components that will show as a blank area until we get into the publishing of the website. But for now, I'm going to leave this as is. Another thing to note is that when you drag and drop the Visualforce page in here, the scheduler component will have this grayish background. It will be the same functionality and the same component. It will just have a little bit of a gray background. So we'll check on that once we're done here. All right, so I'm going to create 2 more pages for the whiteboard and the risk log. And then we'll go ahead and get those added into the navigation. All right, so let's come into our components. And drag and drop the whiteboard. All right, I'm going to set my component height per usual and go on to my last page here. So you can see it's already pulling in the component. And this for the last risk log page, we're going to do that standard page. Just going to remove the S on here. So it's pretty easy. It's similar to editing a standard page layout where you just drag and drop the components that you would like onto the page. Set the component height and then move forward. All right. So now we are good to go with all of our pages. Let's go ahead and edit our navigation menu so that it's displayed correctly. So there is a default menu that's from the template. We're going to keep it as default and then just edit that main default. Otherwise, you can create different menu options. I'm going to remove the topics. It's not really applicable to my app. And then pull in and name my tab. So I have to add a menu item. I have to add the title. And then I have to select a type. So for my project object, we used a Salesforce object page. We'll select projects. And then we'll use the standard list view default. All right, let's add in another menu item for that Gantt chart. And then that one was just a single page. So you would select site page, and then it's going to bring up all of the existing site pages that are either pre-built or that we've created. All right. All right, so we're going to save the menu. Just going to quickly create that timesheet page and then add it to the menu. All right, let's go ahead and add it to our navigation and move forward. All right, so now we have our application finished. I am going to go ahead to the administration and activate my new app. And then we're going to go over and create a new user for the app, add their contact as a community user for this app, and then we'll log in and check out how the app will look. I do have a quick view of how that login page will look. This is the standard Salesforce login, but again, you can modify this as required. All right, so now that we have our page activated, there's a few things that we'll need to do. First and foremost, I'm going to be creating community users from contacts, but to do that, I have to add the buttons to do that to my page layout. Because I just activated Experience Cloud, those buttons weren't available yet, and that's why I will need to re-add them to the page layout. So I want to add that to the contact layout, again, because that's where I will be creating my experience users. You'll have to add these buttons in. So there is enable community user, enable partner user. And then once we enable those users, you'll be able to view the site from their login. All right, so now that those are added to the page layout, we'll save. Once that's done, I'm going to navigate to my sharing settings and make sure that this user can view my objects. Right now, instead of creating custom sharing rules, I'm just going to open up access for my project object and just make it public read write for the sake of time here. However, in your org, of course, you'll want to make this a little bit more secure and open up access using sharing rules. So I have my project. I also shared risks. This all looks good. And role access will be required. All right, so let's go ahead and save our org-wide defaults. It's going to take some time to open that up, and then you also have your guest user sharing role access. But these users will not technically be guest site users. That'll be a different kind of user. All right. Now that we're done with that, let's go to that contact that I have for Mick Fanning. This was already pre-set up. What I will do is go to the button to enable this user as a partner user. All right, so I will enable the customer user. Yeah. All right, so for existing users, the email, if they already have the correct profile and permission set, that email is going to automatically go out to them. So I'll just show you what the email looks like. And then using the button on the contact record creates a new user. So for existing users, they're already going to get that welcome email to activate their site access. And if you have any questions on what just happened, let me know. It's gonna make me go into my app and do different changes here because I selected platform user. Now it wants me to use community plus user. lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at our mission control role. So in the mission control app, I did create a role for Mick Fanning and associated the role to their user in Salesforce. This will make sure that the user has the proper availability set up. You can also set up your timesheet approvers, any notifications that you would like to go out to the users, and then your console and trackpad and overview settings. So this ensures that your users can actually see the tabs in the project overview that we added to the layout. So those will be mostly regarding mission control permissions. Right. Alrighty, now that my user has a license, let's go back to that contact. Try to get into our app here. All right, so now that we've set up a user for our contact, we now have the login to experience as user button. And then that will take us directly into the app. All right, thank you everyone for joining in, and we will see you for the next Kosmo Campfire.